Welcome, everyone. Today is February 13th. I am your host, Tony Gilfillan. This is the Wake Up Workday morning show, and we are joined by the wonderful Todd Tarpley. Welcome, Todd.
Hey, Tony.
Alrighty. Before we jump in, I just had one thing I wanted to call out. If you guys are a fan of early 2000 sitcoms, Scrubs is coming back. I just saw that this morning. Pretty interesting trailer. The original cast, so John Dorian and Turk are all coming back. It's going to be interesting. I was not a fan of the last season. I pretend it didn't exist. It was more or less a spinoff. But I believe that's February 26th that this is coming back. So pretty quick, pretty interesting. I was a big fan of that show back in the college days, so happy that one's coming back. Alrighty. We're gonna jump back into the hackathon app. So yesterday we were talking agent teams. Opus 4.6 came out, and along with 4.6 came the ability to use agent teams in Claude Code. So we used an agent team to essentially analyze a hackathon app and built a little wireframe. So this is what it built for us, and this is what it looks like. We kind of touched on this very briefly at the end of the show yesterday. We have a dashboard. We have some tickets. We can create some tickets. It's not exactly functioning. It's basically just a proof of concept. It exists. It can do a few things. It doesn't function the way we need it to, and that's where we're gonna go from here. Um, Todd, have you played around with the agent teams at all? I know it is a very new functionality.
I haven't had a chance just yet. It's on the list. Hopefully next week.
It is
But
an
no, I have
interesting
not.
one. And if you recall my explanation yesterday, the big thing here is agent teams are essentially sub agents that can talk to each other. So you have your main agent that is essentially orchestrating your agent team. And then underneath there, you have multiple roles in which the team is going to try to accomplish, a list of tasks or requirements or feature that you're trying to get it to build. And then each specialized role is actually able to chat to the other roles. So if you have a tester and you have a developer and you have a review agent, they're actually all able to speak to each other to accomplish their tasks when they need more context or questioning, what's going on with a particular agent or not. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's pretty
That's really
neat.
exciting. Yeah.
I think the big thing here is, like, people have been doing sub agents for a long time here, and OpenClaw is a really good example of kind of that agent team, agent swarm type of idea. And Claude Code, and I imagine it's coming pretty quickly with the other ones, is that having the agents that can talk to each other and having the context between is going to save you tokens, it's going to save you time, it's going to actually build a better product. So what I did here is essentially I had Claude look over the current code base and review it and give me a bunch of suggestions on security concerns, technical architecture, testing, and all that good stuff. And then it built out for me essentially an MVP product here that we're going to let this agent team kind of just go to town, and we'll see a few things. We'll see how many tokens it eats up. I imagine, when you're actually building this using multiple agents, it's going to be more intensive. It's going to use the higher thinking models on the bigger projects. So you're going to be more token consumption there. So just be aware. It's going to, I think it's going to build a better product for us, but we also have to see how much lifting we're going to have to do after it's done. So it's going to build a lot more stuff. We're going to have to review a lot more code. We're going to have to test a lot more things on the human end of stuff. So let's go ahead and just see what it kind of built for me as far as what this MVP product looks like. And again, if you missed us yesterday, essentially what we're creating here is a tie-in to the existing hackathon registration app that we actually use at our DevCons. So we eat our own dog food around here. We built an extend app that actually is used for registering your teams for the DevCon hackathon, and then you're able to tell us, what you're actually going to be building, who's going to be on your team, and basically a description of the project that you're wanting to create. And then from there, we use that data to feed into our chat and ticketing application, which in years prior, where we were using Slack and a Slack bot. to effectively automate that to get all of your table numbers so we can send experts to you. We can, record your the actual ticket that you're submitting, what problems you're having, and then that actually gives us the ability to analyze the ticket data after the fact so we know what were the big problems during the hackathon, what were people running into, what were people struggling with the most, and then that's actually good data for our product teams to actually review this kind of stuff and go over what you guys were running into in the hackathon. So we're going to actually try to eliminate the need for Slack, and create a ticketing system that ties directly into Workday, that we control the software on both ends. So we have here is a chat system restructure. So the MVP of this is effectively creating a Slack-like experience or Discord-like experience, that side chat window with the main chat that you're sifting between, like DMs and groups and channels. And then down here is the Workday integration. So this is essentially an ad hoc sync that I want it to do. I want it to be able to give me like an admin panel that I can then sync the user data, which is built into a hacker business object, so a custom object that lives in Workday that we could essentially sync into this application. So I don't want to have to touch, back and forth between Workday and this third-party application all the time. I essentially just wanted to do a quick ad hoc integration to push that data, and then it all lives within this third-party app to do the ticketing and chat functionality. This third piece of the MVP is going to be the MFA and security hardening, so removing all the security problems that these vibe-coded applications inevitably have, spitting out quick MVPs. Obviously, we don't want it to just be email password. We want email password MFA. And then if we keep going down here, here's the actual agent team stuff. So this is what actually is going to tell Claude Code what the agent team needs to look like and what the different roles are. So we have our technical architect that's going to do system design and complexity. We're going to have our front and back. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you sharing your screen by chance?
I am not sharing to you, Todd. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling me out there.
You are sharing on YouTube. Okay.
I'm sharing to YouTube, but not to Todd.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Where I just made you disappear. Where did Zoom go? There we go. And you're back, Todd. Okay.
Thank
you. We have also our QA engineer. So this is going to be for our testing purposes, being able to create test cases and plan around the things that the engineer is going to create. And that's where the engineer is actually going to focus on the actual building of this different security pieces and the security list and testing. And then it gives us this fancy little output on what the architecture is going to look like and some constraints and concerns. So timeline, don't really know what it was saying here. This is a hackathon MVP. That's not really a timeline. Existing code, this is kind of what the current architecture that it built. It's a React front end built into Flask with a Postgres back end. It is web socketing into what was that doing? The application to the cloud server is going to be a WebSocket, and then it needs to be essentially handle at least 1,000 users for future proofing for larger hackathons. So success criteria, basically you can navigate to the chat bar, you can get real-time messaging, an admin can trigger the Workday integration, user data is actually displaying correctly, security concerns resolved, MFA works, there's testing coverages for all the existing functionality, and all of the bugs that they have identified has been officially fixed. So let's go ahead and grab this whole prompt.
So this is where we're hoping to use this year, right?
This, ideally this would be the new hackathon app.
That's going to be cool. I've liked the ones in the past, but let's check this out. Sounds better. I think hackathon's going to be interesting this year.
I think so.
AI tools, yeah. I'm expecting big things this year.
I think there's going to be a huge amount of enthusiasm when people start realizing what they're going to have at hackathon. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Here's.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I'll make this window bigger so we can see what Claude Code is actually doing. So I'm using Claude Code actually in the terminal. You can use the VS Code extension as well. It would look a lot like this over here, which is just the cursor agent window. I have been using the terminal version of Claude Code more and more, and I just seem to like how it outputs and just gives more information in the terminal than it seems to in the chat window. Let's see here. Has it created? Here now it's creating a team. It's kind of creating the design. Can I pop this out? Nice. Yeah. It would be nice if you could pop out a window.
Yeah.
If you're listening, cursor, give me a pop out functionality. I'll just tell Claude to do it. I think my side project for this weekend is actually going to be to wipe my old PC. So I've had a PC that I replaced a couple years ago. It's kind of just been sitting in my playroom for my kids to mess around with. I think I'm gonna wipe it and put OpenClaw on there and see what the hype is all about.
Yeah.
Hopefully my user data doesn't get stolen. The idea is with OpenClaw, if you guys have not gone down the rabbit hole of OpenClaw, effectively it's a agent daemon. So it's basically an agent of agents. It's creating a ton of agents, has a bunch of control, has a lot of power. It's a security engineer's worst nightmare. But the idea is that you have a isolated machine with none of your logins, none of your credentials. So you're not putting a browser that has all your passwords saved in there. You're literally creating like a new Windows user, a dummy email account, a dummy like Chrome login, all this stuff that's kind of like its own little, standalone person that you're creating a separate identity so it doesn't have any real access to your stuff, and then you tie it to like a Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord where it can actually chat with you, and then you give this thing kind of all control power over that PC. So like it can open browsers, it can check email, it can do all kinds of different stuff, but again, you're giving it power around something that doesn't really affect you. And that's where people really run into problems, is because they're giving access to like their actual API keys, their actual email, their actual financial data, and it's getting leaked online because they're LLMs. They make mistakes,
Sure.
they hallucinate, they do stupid stuff. So like I do want to play around with it and make sure I am not like giving it any of my actual data, but I am interested to see like what this thing can do, like with kind of unlimited power.
Make sure you get a good full wipe in there before you start up, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, because that Moltbot or whatever, the Facebook for these agents, where the
Yeah.
agents can basically post stuff. They're literally posting like API keys and stuff with each other. They're like sharing personal data of these other people with
Oh man.
with other bots. And
That's not good.
yeah, and then there's like all the it's an open source thing, so you can like contribute to it as an open source contributor, but there's obviously malicious actors out there like saying here's
Sure.
an MCP server or a skill to do XYZ, and in reality it's like farming your data. So you definitely have to be very, very cautious with OpenClaw or really anything when it comes to open source MCP these days, because it's the new way that hackers are going to try to get your stuff. So it's still kind of designing. I haven't seen it spin up the actual agents yet. Coordinating overall effort, team structure. Yeah, here's the agents I wanted to create. Redesigning chats. Oh, here it is. So here's the different agents. This actually looks so I actually updated my Claude code this morning, so this is actually different than it looked like yesterday. So here's the agent itself, like backend architect, security engineer. That's the agent that's actually working on these individual pieces. And it was showing me yesterday how these agents ate up tokens individually, but now it's just kind of showing the overall token usage for the whole agent team, which I guess isn't too bad of a thing, but I did like when it was breaking it down by individual agent. You can see it's working on 3 different features by 3 different agents at this current juncture. Let's see, want to edit.
Yep.
Allow. Did it finish? Oh, so yeah, it did a couple other things here. Chat system restructure, Workday ad hoc sync, backend architect.
Your roles and responsibilities form below it.
Yeah, so this is technically, I think they call this one of the frontier models. So I don't really know the time frame in which something becomes a frontier model. So like a long running model is essentially what frontier models are. AWS apparently has one that can run for days. I haven't gotten a chance to play with any of their AI stuff yet, but I am curious to see how long these models can run in Claude code, because that was basically a 7-minute run right there doing whatever it was doing before. And it's up to 173,000 tokens. That's actually not terrible given that it's already gone through several different features here. Yesterday it ate up 200,000 just analyzing the code base. Token usage is going to be like, I don't know, the hot topic on how do you actually use agent teams to the point where you're not burning your token usage and you're not wasting a ton of money just hitting API calls. Like, with Cursor, I use auto mode and it's able to kind of do that for me. It's routing to which model it thinks is the right one. But these agent teams, I don't know if it's doing that. I don't know if it knows, use Haiku for quick stuff and use Opus for the big security and the big coding tasks. I don't know if it's doing that in the back end. All I know is it's racking up token usage.
Yeah, optimizing token usage and stuff like that. I have no idea.
I think you can. I haven't. I need to do more research into this, but I'm pretty sure you can stick rules into your agents. So like, there's many different ways to tell your agents how to do things, and skills is one way. MCP is obviously another way to do it, and so is the rules. So Cursor, Claude, all of them have some form of basically rules to teach your agents how to behave. One in this particular, don't think I have one on this app, but essentially you can create just a Claude.markdown file that can teach your agent how you want it to behave. Especially like, say it finishes a run, you want it to always, push your commits to Git. You can have it do that. If you can have it, analyze in a certain way, you don't want things to, always ask you questions after it tries to do something, or if it's not 100% sure that the functionality works, like test it, like, do things in a way that you don't have to constantly keep asking it the same questions. So like, it can basically learn how to do the way that your work stream works. So like, that's also pretty important, to the point where like, I don't know why, or if it's not built in there right now, like the token usage, token routing type of thing, definitely should be in the skills that you're using. Again, I'm not testing that, and I need to actually play around with that more and do a little bit of testing on to see token usage. It looks like it's done.
Yeah, just gonna say that.
Overall MVP summary. Total timeline. It definitely hasn't been 14 days, Claude. Is that like assumption on like how long this would have actually taken me? It's probably not a terrible estimation.
Um,
Assess
review the
metrics.
design documents.
All 3 design documents saved in the docs design. Chat system re-architect. Heck. There we go. All right, here. Current state analysis. By problems, current technical stack, current data model. This all looks correct. These are all the events that will be done. Little architecture diagram. App router, chat sidebar. So this is kind of what it should look like. Just open, see what this actually looks like now. Did it change anything? Or was this a plan? Did it enable this, or did it actually just plan this?
When I was reading at the bottom, it looked like I just created the design documents, kind of the plan, but then I saw some testing stuff done. So I got
Okay. Your AI agent has delivered 3 comprehensive design documents. So this was all design. I didn't even didn't even catch that. So it actually hasn't even started building anything. This is literally just a plan on what it is going to do, what it's going to actually do to accomplish these things. So that's kind of cool. It's not actually jumping in and building stuff without me, telling it explicitly to do that. So let's go ahead and review these design documents, see if this is legit. This is what I was looking for. This is what I was talking about, the chat sidebar, chat main area. This is that Discord Slack type of look. State management. So this is, making this an actual stateful chat provider with real-time messaging, WebSockets for, again, more of the real-time messaging. URL routing changes. This is the React structure. So this is just kind of where chat will exist. Key components. Oh, this is getting really deep. The actual code that it's going to use, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's
And
a pretty
then,
detailed design doc.
yeah. This is the Workday ad hoc. So this is the actual integration. Sync orchestrator, REST API. So it knows it's going to call a custom object, but it doesn't know what it's going to call yet. So that's fine. These API URLs are wrong, but again, we can fix that. It's making a lot of assumptions when it comes to actually calling those back-end APIs, and that'll be a quick fix.
We never gave it that information though, did we?
No. So it's assuming a lot of things, especially on the URL side, but that's not terrible. And then hardening with MFA. I've actually done this on a couple different vibe coded apps. It's actually pretty quick at creating like a timed MFA token that you can just stick into any authenticator. So this, I'm sure this will work just fine. All right, we got about 6 minutes left. I'm gonna see what this thing can do, given its design.
Tell it to build it.
Do I have to specify a new agent team? I'm going to let Claude create me a new prompt for a new agent team. Create me a prompt create a team that can tackle this product. Paste in the deliverables that it created and see what it comes up for. So I could have just spewed into Claude and assumed, different roles and that kind of thing, but it's already got context into what I asked it before, and I have the copy and paste document from the analysis that it did that I reviewed. So it's going to, be able to create a much more refined roles and priorities and responsibilities that would take me a while to, type all this out. It's not going to be nearly as detailed if I just write a little paragraph into this. So definitely use. Hey, Srinivas, how's it going? Definitely going to use Claude Code to create a much more interesting prompt that'll, give me, I think, a much better end product than what I'm going to be able to type out just in a little paragraph for my prompt.
Yeah.
Prompting to prompt. It's a very meta. All right. Copy this bad boy and so it should now create me an agent team to tackle all the things that it had planned before. This is a pretty in-depth prompt. All the structure, the tech stack, the design documents, parallel work, and then the agent team assignments. Again, it's a security engineer, a back-end engineer, a front-end engineer, MFA front-end, and a QA engineer, and a DevOps integration engineer. I didn't even think to put that into the last one, so I am glad that I restructured the AI agent prompt. Let's see if we can see how many tokens were used creating the design documents. I'm very concerned about that. Seems like the token usage just kind of disappears after it finishes. Wish it would kind of keep right there.
Right.
We're up to 4K tokens right now. That's not really anything.
I think the last time we looked on the last one was 200,000, right?
Yeah, something
but
like
still
that.
Did a lot of work after that.
And the cool thing about this is you also don't have to worry about losing your context. So when you're, working in the context window of a single agent, you only have that 200,000 context window. So once it hits 200K on a single agent, it'll then compact. And when it compacts, it loses a lot of memory on what it was working on before. So then you have to reprompt stuff. You have to retell it where stuff is and what to do. And so, like, when you're working on multiple agents, each agent has that context window. So these agents are able to work for longer, and then they're able to talk to each other to use less tokens. So that's another big pro to using these agent teams. Go on YOLO mode. There's really nothing in this app right now as far as like user data goes. It created me a very simple admin URL password, but that's literally the only user data that's living in there right now. So I'm fine with it just kind of going nuts. So the thing is here that, everyone is so afraid that this is going to just replace developers altogether. But in reality, like, I took time to review everything that this thing is actually going to be spitting out and making sure that it wasn't, just Looney Tunes bonkers, and it's actually going to function. Like, yes, we kind of identified URLs for the orchestrations are going to break. Now, this thing is not going to spit out an enterprise level product. Like, it's going to take
Right.
multiple different iterations on this. Like, there's still
Right.
definitely a need to know what you're doing and what you want to build. Just having an idea isn't going to get you there.
Now it's going to be a different way of doing this stuff, is what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think just
A faster way, a more efficient way.
for sure. I think fast is the key, but fast isn't always going to work.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think just the old school way of coding and the workflows are going to have to change. Like how we think about how we build stuff. Like the mindset needs to change. Like
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
these agents as the thing you're bouncing ideas off of and creating better documentation before you get into the development of it.
Yeah. It's not going to be like, let's just go in and start developing and try some stuff out. It's going to put the thought and get the good design documents up front.
Yeah, and I have been trying to do that more so with this kind of development, is getting in back into the idea of planning and designing and creating a good foundation before you actually get into all this building, because you can just come in here and say, build me Snake, or build me an enterprise level app. It'll try. It's going to
Yeah.
fail, but it'll try. Asking for quite a bit of these agents really want access to a lot of stuff. I just realized what time it was. All right, so basically where we're at now is we have an agent team that has already done the planning. It's created several documents to design a MVP product around what I kind of gave it, what I'm kind of going for, what the architecture is, what integrations I want to actually build here. And now it's getting into the nitty gritty of it. It's got a big plan. It's got a big team of agents that it's actually going to want to build on. And now it's just kind of asking me all of the access that it needs to start doing its thing. So that's where we're at. That's where I'm going to let it kind of go and do its own thing. I appreciate you guys joining me, and we will be back on Monday. And as always, Todd, thanks for joining me. It has been a
Thanks for
wonderful
having me.
Friday. Thanks, everybody. And
Thanks for having me, Tony.
thanks, Todd.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see y'all on Monday.